Hey everybody, I know it's been a while, but I wanted to do another review. Today I was going to take a look at a Masterpiece Springer. This chap's name is Big Spring, and he comes from a company called Open and Play. And uh, their whole thing, as far as I know, is that they are designing transformers that you don't need any instructions, so they don't provide any instructions, which is a pretty interesting concept to have ones that are kind of simple and straightforward and um, straightforward enough that you wouldn't need an instruction booklet. I don't know if they necessarily nailed it with this. I think that parts of the transformation are somewhat intuitive, but um, I think YouTube and instruction or something is probably necessary for at least parts of this. He comes with a few accessories. One is this little number from the movie. It's nice enough. Doesn't really have any painted details or anything like that. So, uh, for me, this will just sit in the box. Um, and he has his blaster, which not bad. Doesn't have any painted details. You can see a little bit of coloration on there. I try to go at it with a Sharpie, a copper Sharpie, and um, it actually didn't seem to take very well on this. So I don't know. It might be the type of plastic they're using just doesn't accept colors, which might be why there is no paint on either of these. So that's a possibility. Um, and his last accessory is his sword. Uh, and this is really nicely done. It's got really nice silver paint, and even on the hilt and the handle, it's got a blue metallic paint, which is really nice. And it does open up to become the propellers for the helicopter mode. Um, it's really interesting too, the way it works right here, because it looks it adds extra detail and stuff for the propeller mode, but at the same time, whenever you have them folded up, it it provides detail here as well. So this is really nicely done, and this can attach to his back with another little extra piece that can be detached very easily. Um, Now mine, I did put the Autobot symbol on it already. Um, so let's look at the figure and kind of talk about him. He is big. He is just about Masterpiece Prime size, MP10 size, as far as his height, and even probably close to his mass. Um, he feels the only thing that doesn't feel solid about him is this connection right here. Okay, it has a place to go, but it doesn't really lock in. It doesn't tab in, so it tends to just come undone. In general, I think he's pretty sharp looking, pretty good. In general, I think he's pretty sharp looking. Um, I know people have kind of criticized the face, the face mold, and I do agree that it's kind of generic, not there's not a huge amount of detail that would scream Springer, but his helmet, on the other hand, and the rest of him, I think, very much looks just like Springer. So, for me personally, I think this is a good Springer figure. You do have options with the shoulders, so this is kind of a more cartoon look to it. You can also twist them to be on the back to give it more of a toy look, and I believe that's more of an IDW look as well. But for my personal preference, I like having it around the front, you know, like that. It does expose the wheels and stuff on top a little bit, but between the two of them, I think this looks a little cleaner, a little nicer. He really cleans up extremely well. If you look at him from the back, there's not too much kibble on him. There's a little bit maybe on the feet, but I actually like kind of the layers of all the panels and everything down there. You know, but on the back, I mean, you really can't say much negative about the way he looks, I think. He does have on the bottoms of his feet, there's little, it's like a rubbery plastic which helps grip a little bit whenever he's standing, so he doesn't just he won't move on you. As far as the feel, I mean, this is the first go for this company. The plastic feels a little bit soft. I kind of would equate it to kind of the way Transformers animated figures, some of the Transformers animated figures feel, just kind of smooth in the way that he moves. You know, a lot of his joints and stuff. I mean, he has some ratcheting joints, you know, and they tend to be done pretty well. But the ones that aren't ratcheted, they tend to be real nice and smooth, and it kind of reminds me of like when I first got the Optimus Prime, the Voyager Optimus Prime from the Transformers animated, or you know, a couple of those guys like Swindle and stuff. Just there was like a real nice smoothness to the way it moved, you know, which was really nice. So robot mode I think is pretty good. Now I'm not going to go through the whole transformation here. I'm going to get him transformed, and we'll take a look at his alt modes, and I might go through a couple key points to watch out for. When you're folding up his arms, you do want to make sure that you rotate his fist so he's palm up, and then rotate it around so that way the top of his hand is on top, and that'll allow it to close nice and tight. With his head, I know for quite a while it was tough because it wouldn't collapse up all the way. What you need to do to get his head to go all the way back is push it back as far as you can on there's several joints under here. You want to get it as far back as it can on this one first, and then move the main joint. And whenever you do that, then his head will go all the way up, like that. With the legs, you don't want to just this whole front part comes off, and you don't want to force it. Instead, there is a little notch right in here. Okay, and as soon as you push that over, you can see it comes right off. That locks it into place. Okay, so here's his car mode. Now I think this is probably the weakest of his three modes. I think it's just very overly chunky and not very car-like. But the transformation itself is fun. It's enjoyable. The way that the whole windscreen expands and becomes larger for the car and then smaller for the helicopter mode, and you keep it smaller to tuck it away in robot mode. It's really ingenious. Make sure you do push this thruster out on the back, otherwise that'll be in the way. He feels good. He feels better than he looks, I think. So I enjoy the transformation. I just don't think this mode, this look, really does it for me. But I'll get him transformed into a helicopter, and we'll take a look at that one. Now, in this alt mode, I think he really shines. I think they did. I mean, he's still a little bit chunky, but I think he looks much better in this mode. Once again, the transformation is a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. Everything moves very smoothly, and it really is a pleasure. And it's cool because you can still use all the wheels. He still sits nice. It will still roll around really nice. But I do think that this is a very Springer looking helicopter, and he looks really great like this. Um, so overall, I think this is a good Transformer, a very decent and acceptable masterpiece style Springer. I know his face isn't the best, and for a lot of people, the way that Transformer looks in robot mode and in alt modes would be their biggest factors. For me, if the transformation and the engineering is good, that kind of tickles me in a way that is able to trump shortcomings that they would have in a look or an aesthetic. Um, the masterpiece figures, for instance, I'm not real crazy about a lot of the way that most of those look now, but if the engineering is really fantastic, that can wow me, more than just the visual shortcomings. So again, I think the engineering in this is really good. I think this is a good alt mode. The car's and I think the robot's good. He cleans up really nicely. He has really nice articulation and movement, and just movement all around on this guy is really fantastic. So this is a figure, and especially considering how much cheaper he is than all the other third-party options for Masterpiece Springer. He is far more affordable, and I see a lot of really great potential with this figure, with hopefully with this company, that they'll produce more figures in the future like this, that they continue to grow and improve, and hopefully the aesthetics won't be an issue next time. So I think this is a really nice Springer figure, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Leave any comments, any productive discussion you want to have, or anything in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I thank you very much for watching.